In 2015, on an otherwise typical evening in Paris, France, a spree of terror killed 130 people in 6 locations across the city. 90 of those cut down were attending a concert at the Bataclan Theatre. Survivors there were exposed to an indelible act of carnage. And for one of them, it became the unlikely focus of his next work. It's called The Book I Didn't Want to Write, and it brings novelist and writer Erwan Larher to our studio for more. It's so nice to meet you. And I thank you for coming in to tell us about an evening that happened for you almost exactly 3 years ago today, as we sit here. Let us look back. Had you been to the Bataclan Stadium before?
Thank you for having me. I'm very happy to be here and honored. Yeah, I'd been to the Bataclan before. I'm a music lover, rock music lover, so I've been there many times, and I've been working in the music industry for almost 10 years.
So you knew this place well?
So I knew this place well.
And the group at the time was the Eagles of Death Metal.
Yeah.
Did you know them?
Oh, sure.
And you had heard them before?
Yeah, one time in Paris in a festival.
There was a lot of confusion at the beginning, because these aren't the Eagles as in Don Henley and the Eagles.
No, yeah.
It's the different Eagles. At what point that evening did you realize something was going extremely wrong?
It was at the beginning of the gig, well, like 40 or 45 minutes after the gig, if I remember well. And I heard pops, you know, like pow, pow, pow. And I thought it was part of the show, you know? But then looking at the stage, I saw the musicians like starting to run away. So I said, hey. And somebody yelled, lay down, lay down, lay down. So I just laid down on the floor. I didn't try to, you know, understand, just lay down.
They yelled lay down in French, I assume?
Yeah.
What would they have said in French?
Couchez-vous, couchez-vous.
That's what people said?
One guy, and I knew after it was a guy from the security.
And how many people would have been inside the theater to begin with?
I think it's 1,400, I think.
Okay. Here's an excerpt from the book. We're going to put people right back on that day 3 years ago. Behind you, somebody was holding onto your ankles and calves, just above your boots. You instinctively felt it like a gesture of desperate brotherhood. That person was holding on to you, to life. Still the gunfire and a sudden explosion. Something fell on your head like dust, plaster, you thought. Then something else, a little warm, a piece of brain, you thought. The attackers were having fun throwing grenades from the upstairs balcony. Here's exactly what you were thinking. They were having fun throwing grenades, and they had decided to exterminate you right there in that concert hall they controlled. Let's, Erwan, unpack this a bit. You say they were having fun. Why did you get that sense?
I don't know. You know, you don't control what runs through your mind in this kind of moments. I knew we were attacked. I knew it were terrorists because they said, okay, tell your president, we want to have revenge for our brothers in Syria. You know, that's what they said.
In French?
In French, yeah, perfectly
in
French, no
French.
accent, yeah. And so I knew what was happening, and you know, I heard the yellings and all the, and so yeah, that's the words that went through my mind. They're having fun. Yeah.
What did you find particularly troubling about the fact that they spoke perfect French?
Well, I'm a little bit ashamed about that, because you know, when you're attacked by terrorists, you think they are like from Arabic, well, you know.
Middle Eastern country.
Yeah, Middle Eastern, and so I was expecting an accent that's, well, I'm not proud of this.
It means they were French, right?
They were French.
They were of France.
Perfectly French, raised in France, born in France, yeah.
So at some point you start to ask yourself, how can French citizens do this? What did you come up with?
Yeah, I asked this to myself months after. not that very special evening. Yeah, but yeah, as a novelist, I think one of my roles is to question the world we live in and our humanity, and that's a huge question. How can a boy, 30 years old, born in France, raised in France, having a job, and how can he take a gun and kill 90 people? What? Have we missed something? I mean, as a society, as a community. So, as a novelist, that was one of the starting points for me to write this book.
Did you come up with a good answer to that question?
Personally, maybe, but as a novelist, I just raise questions. I don't answer, you know.
Okay. You did describe in the book that you felt beyond fear that night.
Yeah.
What did that mean?
I'm fatalistic.
A fatalist, yes.
Yeah, I'm a fatalist. So what should happen, happens. And I was wounded, laying on the ground, bleeding, couldn't move. So, well, hey, what could I do? Just wait. So, yeah, I was not feared, no. I was not feared. I was just like waiting, you know.
Did you think you were going to die?
Yeah, for sure. At one very special point. I was hit at the beginning of the attack, you know, and the guy went down the stairs shooting, right, left, and I was lying on the ground, so he shot me. I was just like lying like this, so he shot me in the bum, and so I jumped, I yelled, and then I said to myself, pretend you're dead, pretend you're dead. But he knew I was not dead, so I thought he would achieve me with a bullet in the head. So then I thought I would die, yeah. That's a very special moment.
How far away was he from you at that moment?
Oh, it was just...
He was standing right on top of you.
Yeah, just right on top of me, yeah.
You must have asked yourself 1,000 times, why didn't he kill me?
I know why he didn't, because it was, you know, I was at the beginning of the, where the crowd is, in front of the stage, you know. So the people were running, so he put his gun up and started to shoot automatically, you know. So I had all the bullets, not the bullets, but you know what?
The shell casings.
Yeah, the shell casings falling on my head. So it was just standing. I was just lying there on the floor. It was standing above me, killing people. He had no time. I think he had no time to shoot me.
Did you keep some of those shell casings?
I did, yeah. I did. That's one of the weird things that go through your mind. I just grabbed some and put in my pocket, thinking it's going to be evidence and it's going to be, it's going to be souvenir. You know, that's what I thought. I'm ashamed of this too.
Why would you be ashamed of that? That is a perfectly natural instinct to have happen.
Yeah, but it's not a nice instinct. The nice instinct would have been to just like see if I can help someone, or, you know, but I couldn't move. But
yeah, exactly.
But then at the hospital, they just cut my jeans, and I never seen these jeans again, so I lost the souvenirs.
You lost the shell casings?
Yeah.
They're gone?
Yeah.
This is going to sound like a very weird question.
Go ahead.
But I don't know that I've ever met anybody before who's been shot.
Oh.
What is it like to feel that bullet go into your flesh?
It's terribly painful. It's the most painful things I've experienced. It's, yeah, painful. And I thought he shot 2 bullets. And the doctors told me after that it's because the bullet came in and out. Ah. So I felt the pain twice. Oof. You know? But yeah, it's so painful. Poof.
Does adrenaline take over at some point so that you feel less pain?
I don't think if it's adrenaline, it's more like I started to tell myself, don't move, pretend you're dead, don't move, pretend you're dead. And I have this friend, Sigolène, who was at the Charlie Hebdo attack, like eight months before.
Indeed.
Yeah, and she had a gun on her head, and the guy didn't shoot. So she's a survivor, and she wrote a book, not about this experience, she's a novelist. And the book is called The Pebble. So I started saying to myself, you're Sigolène, you're a pebble. Because a pebble doesn't move, you know? And Sigolène is a survivor. And it became a mantra. And it kind of, I mean, I went out of myself. I was just like in another space and time, you know.
Almost as if you were looking down on the scene?
Yeah, exactly.
You're out of your body.
Out of myself, yeah. So
because you had to stay perfectly still.
So I was not suffering, and I had no idea of the elapsing time. I was just like Sigolène and a pebble.
That's quite incredible that
That's
you
incredible.
and another friend have both seen that kind of
Yeah.
outrageous violence.
Yeah, yeah, and she's one of my best friends. Yeah.
That's crazy, just crazy. Did it look like to you as this was happening that this was a suicide mission for them?
Oh, they knew they would die, yeah, for sure. Yeah. And coming back to your former question, it's how can you decide to kill yourself killing 90 people? I mean, for a novelist, that's very fertile, you know? It's incredible. Well, incredible is not maybe the right word, but, wow.
Astonishing.
Astonishing, yeah. I think it's beyond rationality, you know? Because us here, what is the most important for us is life, you know? And these guys don't care about death. No. Don't have the same values, you know? And what can you do against someone who has no fear to die? Nothing. You lose.
The title of the book you didn't want to write.
Yeah.
The book I didn't want to write, as it's called. Why did you call it that?
Because at the few months after, I went to hospital and for 15 days and then I recovered. And I'm a novelist. I invent stories, fiction, characters. You know, I never write about myself or my life. Or I think it's not very, interesting.
It sure is now.
And yeah, and then I understood that it was not a personal tragedy I've lived, but it was a collective tragedy. I was hit, I was wounded, but the whole country, my whole country, and maybe the whole Occident was wounded. So for a novelist, well, you say, okay, I'm going to speak about my experience, but speaking of my experience, I'm going to try to talk to humanity, you know.
You write the book in kind of a bunch of different voices.
Yeah.
Where did that idea come to you from? It's not just a first person, here's what happened to me.
Yeah, no, because I felt uncomfortable with the first person. I thought it was too self-centered, you know? And so I wrote the whole book first person, and then I changed.
Huh.
And playing with the first person, second person, well, second person grabs the reader, you know? Hey, I was lying on the ground bleeding, but could have been you. Could have been you who handled the gun. So it allowed me to grab the reader, and I write you and I, first person, second person, and sometimes third person, and you and I and he, that's us. And that's what I wanted, like to have a balance between my personal experience and what it says of our society, of our way of living, our values. And I found it worked. It's something I can't explain. You read and they say, yeah.
Oh,
okay.
it worked. It worked. I can tell you, as a guy who read the book, it worked.
Thank you, Steve.
But you have written other stories where characters in the stories are terrorists.
Yeah.
Do you have, I presume, much deeper insight into those characters now that you've experienced this?
I don't think so. As a novelist, it is like being an actor in a way. You know, you just put yourself into your characters, and if you're sensitive, I think a novelist has to be sensitive to the world around and people around. So you get a lot of information, and then from that you create characters. And but terrorism has always fascinated me.
Because?
Because how can you risk your own life for what can lead you to risk your life? What values? Or what humiliations, or what fears, or what, you know? What's behind that extreme behavior? So yeah, I had my third novel, and there's a young woman, she's a terrorist, yeah.
You may have just...
But political terrorist.
Political terrorist,
yeah.
yes. You may have just partially answered the next question I was going to ask, which is, if you were seated at this table with the person who shot you, and you wanted to ask them some questions,
yeah.
What kinds of questions would you ask?
I'm going to answer sideways.
Through the side door?
Yeah, through the side door.
Okay.
Writing this book, It's because I think literature maybe can bring something to the speeches. You know, it's not the mediatic speech, it's not the political speech. It brings, I hope, a perspective, you know. And I wanted, those people, they are terrorists, they are monsters. Okay, that's no discussion about that. But they are human beings, you know. So as a novelist, I can treat them as human beings.
Does that suggest you have a little human sympathy for their situation?
It's more complex than that. But you can see the world in black and white. But those guys, they were not born bad. I don't think so, you know? They became bad. And why? Did we miss something in the living together, you know? So that's, I don't know what I would ask them or tell them, but I think it's important to try and understand your enemies, you know? You can jail them or kill them, you can punch them, but then they're gonna revenge, you know? You don't win. Trying to understand why someone hates you, I think it's a good start.
Well, let me ask a harsh question.
Go.
There are some people who think that even if you're born and raised in France, but you're not pur laine, as it were, you're a second-class citizen. Is there any culpability by French society for treating these people worse than everybody else gets treated, and that's helped foment their anger? Doesn't excuse what they've done, obviously.
Sure. I think it's like everywhere else in the world, you know? You get some people who say, there's no excuse. And let's not even try to understand because they are monsters. And we don't talk to monsters. And if they wanted to get integrated, they could. And they didn't want. I think it's more complex than this. But the French society is split in two upon those questions.
Sure.
Like I think in the States or maybe here in Canada.
Can I ask you, just in our last moment here, do you have any lingering health effects from having been shot?
You mean in my health?
Yeah.
Or in my brains?
Well, let's one at a time. Can you do everything now physically that you used to do before?
Yeah,
So
sure.
you've recovered physically?
I've recovered. I got a loss of sensibility somewhere, you know, my leg and some other places. Here, where the scars are, you know. But, okay, I can live with that. No big deal.
How about up here?
Up here, I was... I've never considered me as a victim, but as a survivor. So, and as a lucky guy. So, it's okay. No nightmares. I sleep perfectly well. But I'm a little bit paranoid when I go into the suburbs. No, not suburbs. Subway.
Subway. Okay.
Yeah, not suburbs. In the subway or in an airport or in a train, you know, because I always think. It's so easy to have a bomb here. Hey, if I were a terrorist, okay, I'd go to the train station and just blew myself up, you know? So easy. But, so I think of that. And before, I never thought this kind of, you know, never had this kind of thoughts.
Have you been back to the Bataclan?
No, I've never been back to the Bataclan. I've been back to a gig once, like last year. It was very strong. It was a friend of mine on stage at the Olympia. But to the Bataclan, I think, it will take a long time.
You have no plans to go back yet?
Oh, no.
No. Have you met any of the other people who were shot?
Yeah.
Can you share stories with each other?
I've met them during the promo tour of the book in France. You know, I've been attending a lot of bookstores and book fairs. And I've met people who were there or who lost someone or, you know, and the main return I have from the book is, thank you, we needed this book. And if one person says that to me, I won as a novelist, you know, I've been useful. So, yeah, I was a little bit afraid before the book issued in France, just like I didn't want it to be
exploitative, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. And so I didn't do that much promo on the big medias in France. I was asked, but I said, no, I don't want to sell my book on the victim's blood or,
Right.
you know,
Right.
or family mourn. And so I was like very discreet. But yeah, I've met some people.
You are linked together forever now, aren't you?
In a way, yeah, I'm linked to the dead people and to the families. I often think of them, but life goes on, you know. Life goes on.
Congratulations, félicitations.
Thank you,
It's just
Steve.
an incredibly powerful read, and I'm very happy to have been able to do that. The book I didn't want to write, but that I was happy to read. Erwan Larher. Merci beaucoup, monsieur.
Thank you, merci, Steve.
The Agenda with Steve Paikin is brought to you by the Chartered Professional Accountants of Ontario, helping businesses stay on the right side of change with strategic thinking, insightful decisions, and business leadership. Are you on the right side of change? Ask an Ontario CPA.